So he's gotten Trump out of the way, Andrew has. Getting a little cocky in there. Ronda Rousey, either this hour or Monday morning. We'll see what happens. We can get her on before 9. She was there, a part of the ceremony yesterday, the signing ceremony. It is interesting, the whole show that gets put on. This governor likes a good show. He likes to put on a show. And like yesterday, while the governor, I'll show you, we have some videotape of this. I don't know if you kept going, but did you see how after he had signed the bill, so they have a table all set up, and you see this on the presidential level, when when the health care bill was done. But I never saw this part where they use different pens. Well,
Right.
why do you use different pens?
So you can give them away.
You can give them away. They become mementos.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were doing is they were just bringing up people, and he'd sign again. And they were bringing up more people, and they'd stand around him taking pictures. He'd sign again. And they were bringing up more people. It was really quite interesting. Now, Cuomo, afterwards, then there's a reception afterwards. They did a toast. The head of the UFC was there. He proposed a toast, and everybody had this really nice VIP section of Madison Square Garden. It was really cool. But and you got to be thinking Cuomo's there probably hanging out with Ronda Rousey. And no, Cuomo was gone. The minute his part was done, he shook everybody's hands and he was out the door and off to another meeting, so they say. But they stayed, and it was quite interesting to watch that pomp and circumstance, I guess, that went along with this whole thing, the show of it all.
Yeah, it was really cool. I had a chance to talk to a couple of MMA fighters. They were doing some interviews and stuff, right? But Cuomo was gone. Chris Weidman, he's a big deal. He was there doing interviews and talking to people and shaking hands. I was kind of disappointed Ronda Rousey, you couldn't get access to her.
Yeah, they put her in a place that it was hard to get to.
And then when she was there, I went over to take a picture of her. She was sitting in like one of the box seats at MSG on the upper deck. So her back was to that concourse area. So I'm like trying to get an angle where I can get her picture, and someone taps her on the shoulder, and she does one of these, like she turned her head and like had like one of those, like, what are you doing? Looks on her face. I'm like,
I think she does
what
not
do you think
handle.
I'm doing?
She does not handle the people well. I think she's shy.
Well, and I think
she's very shy.
I think part of the
Which
thing
is why
is
she may be a fighter.
Could be.
That could come.
Love this
Somebody
psychoanalysis.
somebody tapped me on the shoulder. I just punched him.
Listen, I don't know. I really don't know this, but I do think that the fact that she was upset there and had lost that fight and her image kind of fell, I think she's getting, I don't know, I do think it was a shock to her
it's humbling.
psyche, I guess, for like a
Guys,
better term.
these are real people. They just maybe didn't want her picture. She just maybe didn't want her picture taken.
No, that's not it.
Well, it's
Okay.
a big
Yeah.
monumental
No.
event for her sport. Why wouldn't she? I mean,
Can I
this
just
is the life
say,
she
let
chosen.
me just bring some normalcy to this whole conversation.
Oh,
You
gosh.
people, I mean, come on. Here's what's going on. She's an introvert. I'm just telling
God.
you. No, Christine, you got to know who we're dealing with
I have
here.
to know her like you know her.
She is it. No, I'm telling you, and people that have interviewed her and people that have talked with her and what I witnessed yesterday, she's comfortable with her group, and she is otherwise she does not love all of the attention, and which is why they placed her in a position where they were. You couldn't get to her very easily, and she's very good when she makes the move to have a conversation, but she's more of an introvert with that. She's very uncomfortable dealing with the and you read interviews about her.
Unless it's Rob Esch.
It's out. Rob Esch, she seemed to be
That's an
gazing
exception.
at. She was gazing at him.
Gazing.
There was a gaze going on there.
I'm telling you, she's shell-shocked from that fight.
And let me tell you something else that I learned.
She
No. He's also right, Andrew.
Yeah.
I talked to there were some big names here yesterday that are UFC people, and I don't want to throw the names around, but one of the attorney that represents, this is the attorney who represents, I spoke with him for like 20 minutes, who represents UFC, said it was an emotional blow. It was
Yes.
Well, she was suicidal.
extremely, and if you watch the interview,
Yeah.
she was suicidal. She said she considered suicide. She was extremely distraught over that loss. And he said she'd never been there before. She had
Right.
no idea how to react, and it still has affected her. So, and that is, she's, as Christine did say, she's human.
And beautiful, right? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
she
You were
was
gazing
something,
at her
yeah.
while she was gazing.
Paul
at
McCartney
her.
is also human. Do you know that was the first time I was gazing at her gazing at Rob Esch? Paul McCartney kicked off his new tour in Fresno Wednesday night, and for the first time ever since 1965, what did he do? He played the song "A Hard Day's Night." He has never done it as a soloist. I've seen Paul McCartney in concert and Paul McCartney in Wings. He does a whole Beatles set, but "A Hard Day's Night" has never been done until last night or Wednesday night. It was when he actually performed the song, and we have some audio. Here it is. This is Paul McCartney. The recording sounds like the recording from Shea Stadium in '64. Terrible recording, but that's the first time. And you know what is interesting is there are those Beatles people who just know everything about the Beatles, and they knew how big that moment was because he's never done it before. Most other people, it's like, oh, he's just doing "A Hard Day's Night." But for those fanatics of Beatles knowledge and trivia,
why now?
It was a big deal. I don't know. I have no idea. Lily Tomlin is a anti-SeaWorld person. She's I don't know if you know, but they're not even doing the whales there anymore, right? The killer whales.
They're not breeding the whales.
Oh, they're not breeding them. Well, Lily Tomlin wants the whole place shut down.
This is Ernestine returning your call from SeaWorld, where everybody has a whale of a time, except for the whales. I understand that your kids were upset to see that the orcas live in tiny, tiny tanks. May I suggest that you educate them to the high cost of real estate in this area? Mm-hmm. Yes, the orcas do lose teeth gnawing on the concrete walls. But if you were a trainer, wouldn't you prefer to swim with a toothless killer whale?
All right, well, what are you going to do? I mean, what do you go to SeaWorld for? You go to SeaWorld to see the stinking killer whales swimming around.
Growing up where I grew up, I have to say that although I don't think it's great for the killer whales to be captive and all those other things, I learned more about oceanography and
from SeaWorld. Yeah. Well, you know, the protesters are on. They're going to try to do away with it. By the way, the protesters were on, too. De Blasio, one of the things that he wanted to do in New York City is get rid of the horse and the horse-drawn carriages. And because it was bad for the horses or something like that. And what did we see all over New York yesterday?
They were there. And matter of fact, we saw one early on, and I said, I thought de Blasio got rid of those things.
Yeah. I was yelling to him, de Blasio hates you. And the guy gave me a thumbs up. I don't think he understood me, but he gave me a thumbs up.
It's like a young Frankenstein. Every time you say de Blasio, the horses go,
yeah, it's terrible. It's like seeing a mouse or something, right?
Yeah.
They don't like that. 8:24, we're coming right back. It's First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.